It's another side that, like, wants to take more. It wants to go that one more round. Because, like, going that one more round when you don't think you can, that's what makes all the difference in your life. You know what I mean?
Hello and welcome to another episode of One More Round, the Rocky Series podcast. I'm your host, and with me today is Kyle, as always. Well, most of the time. And we have a special guest host replacing Katie for today. Well, actually, maybe forever. I think I fired Katie last week. Guest hosting for Katie, almost as pretty. Doug, how you doing?
Katie is probably the one thing that's keeping your show afloat. All right, guys. Nobody wants me to replace Katie. Okay.
Well, they probably want you to replace me. That's the problem.
That could be true. That could be true. Definitely not Katie.
No.
She's irreplaceable. Some would say.
Yeah, she's wonderful. We have our show on YouTube, so if you're listening to this on iTunes or whatever, audio only, we do. Ryan, myself, I edit the show now. Make it kind of YouTube friendly so you can see us as we talk on Discord. So if you're joining us live on Discord, we welcome you.
How many people just X'd out of their streams when they saw that I was here and not Katie?
Nobody yet. We only have one person Discord right now, so it must be a busy Sunday morning for people. But check us out live. Live on Discord, so you can join the discussions, and then you can also join us on YouTube and, of course, on your earbuds. Join my Patreon. Okay, in the show description is the Patreon that helps pay for the feed. Yours truly, Ryan. I host the Last of the Action Heroes podcasting feed. $1 a month is all you need to do, and what that gives you, it helps gives me a little bit of tip, a cup of coffee, or helps pay for the Last of the Action Heroes podcast feed and all the editing that I do and all that good stuff, and I appreciate it. And you also get early release. I'm getting really good at it now where I'm editing pretty good. And so the patrons get early releases of the audio and a video. I just assume everyone knows who you are, so I shouldn't do that. But maybe someone's listening for the first time. So, Doug, who are you? What's going on?
Well, I would guarantee almost nobody knows who I am. I'm one of the hosts of, well, actually at this point, I'm probably the host, the only remaining host of Rocky Minute. We do a similar show to yours, but we dissect the movie into 1 minute chunks and we analyze each 1 minute of movie time. We've completed Rocky 1, or the first Rocky, the original. We've done Rocky 2, and we're limping through Rocky 3. I just started releasing episodes again, so Rocky 3, it's pretty early in the movie. I think I just released minute 12 or 11 or 12 last week. So they'll be coming out. They'll be drip drabbing out here and there.
Well, don't sell yourself short there, Doug. You are like the number one podcast on the consistently your show when it does drop. It's one of the top downloads, if not the top download, like weekly. Like the first week, you guys come in strong. People are looking forward to your show, so we love having you on the network because it's always great when people that I invite on the network have better numbers than me. That's great. But anyway, so. No, I love it.
This is your second trip around the world here with everybody heard your first lap of Rocky with your brother, so
and Kyle and Katie only came on during the Creed, so
right.
I think the people that have stuck around aren't listening. Again, like you said, they're not listening because of me and Kyle. They're probably listening for Katie's rendition of the Rocky.
That's why people are dropping out left and right now today.
But this is a sausage fest today. Okay, well, this is the part, speaking to Katie, where she reads the emails, and we only got one email this week, and this is kind of awkward because, and I don't think this has ever happened before in podcasting history, but Doug, you're the one that sent the email.
What? Jesus.
I know. So
wait, you're going to read it? You're not going to read it in front of me, are you?
I'm going to read it in front of you.
I have to make Doug read his own email.
That would kind of Well, here we go. So, Doug, if you don't mind, I'm going to read the email on behalf of Katie. Okay.
All right. Just don't point out all my typos.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, yeah. Unfortunately, you're not as smart as your hand. So, but you can't. you can't have everything. Okay. My dear friends, at one more round. I'm loving your coverage of Rocky so far, and I love it when you hit the same beats that we at Rocky Minute hit when we covered it many years ago. I'd like to expand on a few points if that's okay with you guys. I'll allow it. In the gym, when Mickey calls Rocky a dumb dago and Rocky spins around with that look on his face and all the action, the gym stops, our guest pointed out an amazing observation. It's a wide shot with Rocky in the middle, and there's one white wall, one green wall, and most of the boxers there training are wearing red shorts. Mickey insults Rocky's heritage, and there he is surrounded by the colors of the Italian flag. Now, I'm not sure if that was John G. Allison's intentions, but once you see it, it's impossible to ignore.
Oh, I would have never, ever caught that.
I didn't either. I
could have watched that 100 more times, and I wouldn't have made that connection.
It was a keen eye by the guest we had on that week, and I was blown away when he said it. And again, like every time I've watched it since then, I'm like, there it is. He's surrounded in the American flag, as Mickey calls him a dumb dago.
Honestly, to me, that you'd have to almost be like a Rain Man kind of character to notice something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And I believe our guest might have been exactly that.
Yeah.
The way this email started, Doug, it sounded like you're going to say that that Rocky was surrounded by a bunch of black guys. That's what one white guy in the middle, surrounded by a bunch of black guys. It's like the start of a really bad gay porno. All right,
or a really good one.
Oh, really? Yeah, it depends. Yeah, it depends what side of the fence you sit on. That's fine. I should make that clear. Yeah, it might not be my cup of tea, but could be some of our listeners.
I don't know. You called Doug handsome like 10 times. That's making me wonder.
Dude, I've got a man crush on Doug. Exactly. He's a good man. He's a good man. To add to your incredible Jurgens insight, well, thanks, Doug. If you go back to listen to minutes 56, 58 of Rocky Minute, we were joined by Star Trek producer Ted Sullivan, and he offered some wonderful food for thought. We consider Jurgens to be the true villain of the film, and Ted poses the question, quote, why doesn't Apollo approach Rocky about the fight? It's because Apollo isn't the villain of the film. He represents who Rocky wants to be, the American dream. Jurgens is the fat cat businessman who patronizes Rocky and treats him like a child and fools him into buying his bill of goods. The images of Rocky sitting there and Jurgens standing in his personal space, and we added with his crotch right in his face. Mm-hmm. Did you catch that? It's like right there. The images of Rocky sitting there and Jurgens standing in his personal space, towering over him lying to Rocky about Paul seeing this fight and liking him appealing to Rocky's patriotism, the whole, do you believe in America as the land of opportunity? Bull crap. It's old Jurgens representing the devil, conning Rocky into making a deal with the devil. I love all you guys. I can't wait for more. Your brother and Rocky, Doug. All right, thanks. That is very kind. I mean, great observations. Yeah, we definitely touched on the Jurgens being the snake oil salesman type personality.
I gotta say though, it's not like this was Jurgens' idea. Like Jurgens is just trying to find some contender, and this is Apollo came up with that. I think Jurgens is just a sales guy in the film, right? Like Jurgens is probably the closest thing you would get to a villain. But I wouldn't say he's evil. I think he's kind of just an asshole.
Yeah, in a movie like Rocky, it's not, good versus evil. It's just it's a story. It's not like your typical hero's journey kind of story. But instead of saying villains, you could say adversaries or antagonists. That might be like a softer word for it. The way that Jurgens treats Rocky, and you'll see even later on in the film, Ryan, in the scene in the ring, like he is an asshole. Kyle said he patronizes Rocky and he treats him like a child, and that makes him instantly hateable because of the way he talks to Rocky.
He kind of took over for Mickey, right? Like Mickey's the dickhead in the first part of the film, and Mickey and Rocky, of course, work all that out, and then Jurgens is now there's a brief overlap, and Rocky didn't like either of them.
Yeah.
Jurgens now has to be the antagonist.
All right, you guys ready for Rocky trivia? So, Doug, you're playing for Katie today, by the way.
I'm representing Katie in this?
Yes, and she's yeah, well, like I said, I wish you were as smart as you were handsome, because she's falling behind, and she's a little bit nervous that you're filling in for her. I'm not going to lie. She's like,
Doug's... I got you, Katie. Don't worry about it.
Hold on, Ryan.
Yes.
Did you guys do 26 through 30 while I was gone? I think you sent me a message about it.
Oh yeah, because I'm editing that episode, I'll just send you the points offline. I'll just send you the. I forget what they are off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just leave that blank.
I just want to point out, Ryan, as I'm listening along, there's only one question that I've gotten wrong the entire run. So I don't know if you remember, but when we covered Rocky 1, we went pretty deep with the background details. So
you guys, well, doing the minute by minute coverage, yes, I not only hope but expect you guys would have even deeper coverage than what we're doing. Absolutely.
Now listen, if I get one of today's questions wrong, you have to delete all of what I just said.
You might.
No, sir. No, the opposite will happen.
Honor system, I'm held to my integrity here.
All right, are you ready? Okay, so we did 26 to 30. Yeah, okay. So play at home. Don't give your answers in Discord. How much money do spectators at the skating rink have to pay to watch? Remember, we talked about this. This is crazy. We actually brought this up in one of our episodes.
Yeah, I brought this up. I told you guys the answer in a previous episode.
Yeah, so Kyle, unbeknownst to Kyle, this was a future trivia question. What age did Rocky start fighting at? Another one that we kind of covered. So this was brought up during their first date on the ice rink as well. Rocky mentions when he started fighting. I feel like I'm going to do bad. Man, I'm terrible remembering numbers.
That was 32, just to confirm.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah, so that's right, 32. 33.
Yeah.
What is the date at the beginning of the movie? I'm going to get 0 for 5 today. Jeez. True or false? What? The ice rink is also a skating school. Good.
Man.
I'm feeling good now.
A 50-50 on that one.
Yeah. 35, last thing. When did Rocky come up with the name Italian Stallion? From the events of the film, how long ago was it, I guess? Oh, boy. Jeez, Rocco. So, again, this is taken from the Rocky trivia book, 300 Questions from Rocky to Balboa, written by Rocco Macciardi. So, Macciardi, thank you, Kyle. Okay, so we'll check out those answers at the end of the episode. Play along at home like Doug's been doing. Apparently, he's only got one wrong. I think I got 4 out of 5 wrong there. I'm not going to lie to you.
Doug, you for sure got one wrong in this one. I shouldn't say for sure. Given the difficulty of these questions, the chances of getting 5 out of 5 are not good.
Yeah, this is a hard week of questions.
Yeah,
I feel like we just got hustled at the pool hall. You know what I mean?
The kid wrote a challenging book, man. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
well,
for
some
sure.
of the questions are so easy. I got my confidence up, and then
he roped the dope on you.
Yeah, exactly.
The first of the questions were handpicked. Nah, they weren't handpicked. My job to protect you. All right. Dave wants to say to you there, Doug, if you want to show the audience who are watching this on YouTube, he likes your 1818 shirt.
This is, I don't know if
you
guys see it? It's got the 1818 and the turtles on the front. And on the back, you can read that. Can you read it?
All I want to do is go the distance. Rocky Balboa.
Hey,
nice.
Hey, Doug, how far away are you from Philly?
Oh, I'm about an hour.
That's not bad. So you can visit as much as you want, I guess.
Yeah, I've been to Philly a bunch, but I've only been to the Rocky filming sites, including the steps one time.
Nice.
Back before the pandemic.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That was fun.
All right. Well, here we go, guys. Ready to go into the film. So, like we said, the last episode was the press conference, or whatever, on TV, where Rocky mentions to Adrian that the comments bothered him on TV. He didn't like being poked at a little bit. It did bother him a little bit. Yeah. And now we're going to the outside shot here of Pat's King of Steaks. This is a real place, by the way.
Well, this is iconic Philly cheesesteak. There's Pat's, and then across the street there's Geno's, the competitive steak guys.
They're competent. Wow.
Yeah, they don't like each other over there.
They're the most famous. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that this was a famous. I actually Googled it just on a whim. I was like, I'm going to Google Pat's King of Steaks to see if that place is still there. But yeah, so I learned very quickly, of course, with the Google search, that is that location. And
this day, there's a plaque in the floor where it says, Sylvester Stallone stood here, whatever, while filming Rocky.
Nice. That's very cool. Now, did you guys notice the garbage? Look at the garbage around that. not prop garbage. That's
it's real Philly garbage.
Like there's 1, 2, 3. There's 3, maybe 4 garbage cans where you can dispose of your waste if you need to. My guess is that maybe the wind has blown garbage from other places there because it's so easy to throw stuff away when there's so many garbage cans. Like I can't imagine people throwing it on the street.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like I know we don't do that now per se. Like we're more aware of just like my kids are. You know, we teach don't litter. I mean, that's obviously a message I grew up with. Don't litter. It's just so weird. Like, why were humans back then like blasé about garbage? It's like it's such a they didn't mind the filth. Like, do you know what I mean by that? Like, did people walk around saying, "Oh, whatever, who cares"? It's just a weird thought to me. I don't know why. I find that odd that garbage would be acceptable, like right outside where you're eating too.
I have unsubstantiated thought of why that might be the case. This wasn't in Philly, but when I lived in London, there wasn't garbage cans around. Now, this isn't a Philly-specific thing, but in London, they got rid of a lot of their garbage cans because terrorists, like IRA type of terrorists, put bombs in them. So you would have people whose job was just to go around, pick up trash on the street. People just had a habit, especially in outer London, not the touristy places. You just throw stuff on the street knowing someone else would pick it up. And I wonder if, like, back in the day with Philly, before they had public garbage cans, that you knew there were street sweepers. That was their job, and they came out and you just threw stuff on the ground, and so you develop kind of a culture of littering. I don't know if that's true at all. That's my guess.
That's a reasonable, of the things I've heard, that's more reasonable thinking, okay, this is just what we do and somebody else will get it. Maybe, sure, okay, fair enough. By the way, Dave in our chat says he likes Geno's better than Pat's.
Yeah, there's some loyal people. People are loyal to Pat's, people are loyal to Geno's.
It's a real turf war. I had no idea.
It is, and they're like on adjacent corners from one another. So it's like staring across the ring at one another. If you do like a Google Earth view of that location, you'll see that they're right across from one another. Pretty cool.
Geno's looks a lot more flashy than Pat's does too.
Oh.
I don't think Pat's has changed much from this image.
I think you're right.
So we got an outside shot here. We got Rocky smoking. He's talking to Gazzo, and Gazzo's aware, of course, of the press conference. So this is now. So they watch the press conference on TV. Everyone in Philly's kind of seen this now together, whether you're in the bars or at home, whatever. It's big news, right? The local boy gets a shot at the title. So Gazzo's now talking to Rocky about this opportunity.
Listen, the reason I brought you is because I want to know if you got any money for training expenses, huh?
I got a few dollars.
$2? Well, here, put this in your glove.
What's this?
$500. Don't worry about it. You know, you ain't never had any luck. But I think this time Lady Luck may be in your corner. What do you think?
Maybe. Hey, thanks for the money, Tom, you know?
It's okay, don't worry about it.
Thanks a lot.
See you, all right? Hey, wait a minute.
What?
You're in training, huh? Come on.
Hey.
All right, so what's $500?
That'd be about $2,000. Okay, so no, $500 in 1975 is the equivalent of $27.53.
Wow.
In today's money.
So that's a good chunk of change. So, you start training, so it just sort of throws you almost $3,000. Here you go. How about with training expenses? So, yeah, buy a pair of shoes, outfit, a couple of weights, maybe. Who knows? So,
he's not going to be collecting money during training, right? And
That's
it's like
kind
a 5-6 week camp. So, like $2,700, that'll cover your rent. That'll cover some groceries, like some.
There you go. Good point. Yeah. Good
That's the way I was looking at it. Like it was his kind of leave of absence from work. So here's a couple of $100 to get you through the next few weeks of bills. Like he has a lot of bills.
And Gazzo takes the cigarette out of his mouth. Keep that in mind when we go to a later scene here. But so he's like, hey, come on, Rocky, you're training. So he grabs the cigarette out of his mouth. And that's the last time we see a cigarette in Rocky's mouth until Rocky 5.
I posted in the chat the plaque from Pat Steaks.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it says here, on the spot stood Sylvester Stallone filming the great motion picture, Rocky, November 2-1, 1976. Very cool. Thanks,
Brian. When we eventually go to Philly, we're going to get a cheesesteak here.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Oh, how far are you? You're in Toronto?
No. I'm way out west.
Yeah, Kyle and I are sort of close to each other. Like, we're 16-hour drive from type thing.
So close.
Well, considering how big Canada is, it's not bad. Like, he's in the neighboring province to mine, but
an hour and a half flight for me.
My ignorance about Canada's
Oh,
geography.
no. That's fine.
Joe Tony,
What?
you gonna show up at the fight?
Ringside.
Hey. I see.
That's a cute little moment. You're gonna show up to the fight. Of course, Gazzo's got ringside tickets. He's got connections.
Do you notice not a word from Buddy the driver? That Rocky is somebody. Buddy doesn't want any piece of him. But when the script was originally written, Gazzo was supposed to be Rocky's older brother. You can see that closeness in their relationship. This playful little exchange by them definitely screams like a brother kind of relationship.
Gazzo looks out for him. He helped him with the date money, the $50. He's helping him with the $500 here. He cares about Rocky. Rocky isn't just some employee of his.
Yeah, even when he screws up, he talks to him like a family member that screwed up, not like an employee. He doesn't like open him up, undress him right there on the street like an employer would to an employee that screwed up.
Yeah.
You gonna do your Rocky Minute stuff on our show, Doug, or what's going on here?
What are you talking about?
I don't get many chances to guest on your show, Ryan. So I got to take off as big a bite as I can.
Oh, I love it. Okay, now we've cut to the scene where Mickey is making the climb up the stairs there to Rocky's apartment. It's funny, that staircase looks like almost like the same staircase they used in Rocky 2 when Rocky walks up the stairs to Mickey. He goes,
Yeah, it exactly does look like that. You're right.
Yeah, I'd say so. I wonder if it's just like the Philly seems to have like a ton of row houses, or I guess they didn't film in Philly. Never mind.
A lot of the interior shots were LA, but yeah.
Yeah.
This looks like almost like the same stairwell that they talked on in Rocky 2, but it was opposite living conditions. Mickey was living up there.
Yeah, they might have used the same staircase.
I think so, probably.
Here he goes to his left to knock on the door, and it's opposite when Rocky goes to visit Mickey in Rocky 2.
Yeah, that's right.
Mickey comes out with a pipe.
Who's there?
The moment of hesitation.
Rocky is going to be training for this fight. Presumably, he's going to go to the place he always trains. He's going to go to the gym, right? Like, unless he finds another boxing gym, he's got to go to Mick's gym to train. You would think that Mickey would kind of approach him at the gym and say, hey, can I help you out? Can I train? Can I be your manager? But Mickey decides to find Rocky's address, come to his house, talk to him. I think that's significant. It kind of shows that Mickey's taking an effort. Like, I think he knows he kind of fucked up earlier. That last scene with Rocky, and he's eating crow a little bit. Mickey
is a very proud man. This right here, this is taking a lot. I just mentioned the pause he made before he knocked on the door. Like, this is eating away at his soul, that he's coming to Rocky with his hat in his hand. The only way he can do that is privately. If he's in the gym among other fighters and other trainers, there's no way that he can be this groveling.
I think you're on point, Doug. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Hello, kid. I seen your light. Can I come in?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, good. Hey, it's a nice place here.
First lie.
I don't know, man. Because Mickey's place is kind of a dump too, right?
Yeah.
and Mickey probably came up living in like some shithole place during the Depression too. So like to Mickey's already like, all right, you got lights on, the heat works, we're good.
Right, Mickey's apartment. He's got soup all over the floor.
Yeah. About the soup, I was like, you can hear it hit the carpet. It's not just the floor. Like, it soaks in there.
And he doesn't clean it up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the only stuff stuck in the carpet, I'll tell you that.
Oh, man.
Right, anyway, what I come to tell you is that what happened to you is freak luck.
Yeah, freak luck.
Isn't it true?
This is a really horrible opening. Basically, Mickey's saying, there's no way that you should be fighting the champ. Some freak luck. He should have just worded it better, saying, what an amazing opportunity this is.
Right.
Like, this is an amazing opportunity. Wow, can you believe this happened? But to say freak luck, those two words combined is almost sounds negative. You should have just said, what an amazing opportunity. Because he goes on to say, look at the other guys. They're good fighters, right? Stop underselling Rocky's ability.
He shouldn't have said it. Yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. Like, that's a terrible opening. But it is really freak luck.
Yeah, of course it is.
In the lottery kind of freak luck. And frankly, Rocky doesn't deserve to fight the champ based on his record and based on everything he's done. Like, if it was a totally meritocracy, Rocky would not be first in line to fight Apollo,
No.
even if he was legitimately the best fighter of the pack. The record doesn't show that.
Mickey's here to butter him up. Butter him up, that's probably not the best open.
I've always thought of this when he says the freak luck thing, and you have this one shot, this is an amazing shot. You got to take advantage of it, i.e. you have to have me being your manager to help you make the most of this opportunity. But I wonder, too, if also he's worried that Rocky's, maybe this is going to his head, and he has to bring him down a peg, so Rocky feels like he needs his help.
Hey, Ryan, you train recruits, but the first thing you do is you break them down before you build them up, right? Maybe
yeah, but Rocky's already like a freaking broken down bum pug.
He's got to take him down a few pegs before he starts building him up.
Yeah, because Rocky's the cockiest guy in this film. Yeah, if anyone needs to be brought down to poor guy's already a schlub. He needs to be brought up. But you're right. That's what I do to recruits. But Rocky does not need any help.
Look at the other guys. Now they're good fighters, right? They're colorful. They got good records. They fight their guts out for peanuts. But you get a shot at the title.
Yeah, first luck is a strange thing.
Yeah, sure it is. Can I sit down?
Yeah, sure.
What the hell are those?
Oh, those are the domestic turtles. The one on the top is Cuff and the other guy is Link, and the rest of them are marbles.
Yeah, they make good soup.
There's a laugh. That was a good one. Gotta give that to Mickey.
I think it's funny, but I would recommend again. He's a horrible butter up job here. Like if you're trying to butter this guy up, like I would recommend not talking about eating your pets.
Yeah, you can tell Rocky doesn't like that either. Like he doesn't find it funny at all.
The way that only Rocky can. He says one's Cuff, the other one's Link, and the rest of them are marbles. He wasn't asking about the marbles.
Yeah, you got names for the marbles, Rocky.
Yeah,
the blue one is blue goo. The pink one is.
Old people, they view animals differently. We kind of really love our animals a lot nowadays, and like personal relationships with them, like naming them, and it's like the animal's like part of the family. It's like my grandparents. They'd be like this kind of attitude, or it's not the farm dog that doesn't work for stuff. Like you gotta kill it. Like why do you have this around?
Mickey probably really has eaten turtle soup before.
I believe that 100%.
I do like how Rocky calls it a domestic turtle. It kind of like dignifies the turtle. It's a domestic turtle as opposed to the wild ones that go crazy everywhere. These are the docile, friendly turtles that were instead of those crazy rampant ones out in the wild.
Anyway, look, I'm here to warn you that you gotta be very careful about this shot that you got at the title. Because, like the Bible says, you ain't gonna get a second chance.
Yeah, all right.
You thought of that, huh? Well, what you need is a manager. A manager, listen to me.
Mickey likes to quote the Bible.
I kind of researched it for Rocky Minute, and it doesn't say that in the Bible.
No, it doesn't. You read the whole Bible?
Yeah, he's going to get a second chance. I searched for like passages of the Bible talking about second chances and stuff. It doesn't say that anywer.
Oh, well, the Bible is that you do get a second chance.
Right. Because that is the whole point of the Bible.
Just like the Bible says, you blew it, kid. You blew it. He says he's been doing this racket for 50 years. Okay, now he says later in the scene that he's 76. Burgess Meredith's real age in the film is 69. So Burgess Meredith is the same age here as Rocky was in Creed Part 1. Actor-wise, I should say actor-wise. So I find that Stallone was 69 in Creed in the first Creed, and Burgess Meredith is 69 here. Both have aged a little bit differently. But that being said, his character, though, is 76. So that means he's been boxing, which is odd that they said for 50 years. Now, I know he's probably just saying a number, but they should have said 60 years because he's 70. That makes more sense that he was boxing since he was a teenager. I know it's a small thing, but...
Do you think Rocky at this point knows what Mickey's getting at?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to look for clues in his face, like an eye roll or something.
Imagine if Rocky was like, "Do you know any good managers I can?"
Yeah. I guess I need a manager. I already said that, you dumb dingo.
You know what I think about, though, when Mickey says he's been doing it for so long? If you guys see the movie Cinderella Man with Russell Crowe.
Just the one time, but I can't recall much.
But it's boxing in the Depression in New Jersey, actually, because he has a bad string of luck where he went from a top contender to like fighting for like $50 or whatever. And it shows how they're kind of treated like animals and they're fighting hurt, and it's just like a really like you live in hand to mouth.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. Like if you watch that film, I'd recommend, if you haven't seen that film, listeners, watch that film, and then you might get an appreciation for Mickey a little bit.
And Jim Braddock's story is fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
Wow, look at you getting the name. I've seen it the one time. I did enjoy it. It's just like some things in life. I just haven't seen a lot of films more than once. But I remember watching and thinking it was a great film. Russell Crowe was great in it.
I know, because I've been in this racket for 50 years.
50 years, huh?
50 years, God, I've seen it all of it. You know what I've done?
What?
I have done it all.
Well, I have a theory. Maybe he's managed for 50 years. Because if you think about it, if he's close to 30, he had a mini prime. It didn't last. Because pushing 30 gets kind of old, too. So maybe he started managing at a younger age. So there you go. So maybe he managed at a young age.
Once Rocky does realize what Mickey's doing, he kind of just shuts him off. Just does everything but pay attention. 50 years, hon, and he grabs the mail and he's coming through the nail. Yeah, I've done it all. You've done it all, huh? He doesn't want to hear any of it.
Pissed off your wife and you're trying to get out of it, and she's not having it. Yeah.
Yeah. We know that all too well, don't we?
Yeah.
He's too nice to kick Mickey out. Like, Rocky doesn't like confrontation. He doesn't like to be rude. He wants Mickey to leave, so his body language is showing the disinterest, hoping that Mickey will just be like, okay, he's not interested. But Rocky's too nice to say, I'm not interested, go away. That's why Mickey just keeps with the sales pitch, because he's like, oh, I think I've got to listen near. But Rocky's checked out, but Mickey thinks he's listening.
Even Rocky reaches a point where he's had enough, and that's when he tells Mickey to scram.
Yeah.
I don't think he does he?
Not in so many words, but...
He vents his frustration. I think we're going to get to that scene, Doug. Jeez.
We'll discuss it at the scene.
Out of spite, we're going to stop it just for the scene. We'll discuss it with Katie next episode.
You didn't tell me the rules before this.
Hey, don't you listen to the show? What have I ever...
rabbit punches, that's all I know. No rabbit punches.
No low blows. So he goes on to say that you should have seen me when I knocked out Ginny Russell out of the ring.
Seen me when I knocked a Guinea Russell out of the ring, out of the goddamn ring. That's September the 14th, 1923.
Well, that's a good trivia question. When did Mickey knock out Guinea Russell? Oof.
Hey, Ryan, this supports your managing theory.
Okay.
Or your 50 years doesn't mean 50 years theory. Because if you do some math, 1975 right now, we're not quite 1976. And he says 50 years, so that, of course, is 1925. And then he just said right now, whatever date, 1923, I knocked Guinea Russell out of the ring. That's 2 years difference. He's been fighting more than 50 years. 1923 is more than 50 years from 1975.
So it's managing. And you could argue, too, that the 50 years of managing, that's what he's talking about. I've been doing this racket. Because he says racket, talk about being a manager.
26 seems a little young to switch to managing.
But hear me out. Because he talks about this fight, and this is the fight where everyone should have been talking about Mickey, but they didn't because he didn't have a manager. So this is where you could argue this was his big fight, his big moment. It never mounted to anything, so he went to managing. He realized no one's going to notice me anymore. That was the biggest fight of my life. So maybe he switched to managing after that moment. That big moment didn't become what it was supposed to become. So he's talking about his big moment. And it never became anything because he didn't have a manager. So maybe he switched trades, so to speak, to become a manager at a young age.
This is also another instance in the film of life and art kind of coming together, because that was the date that Lou Firpo knocked Dempsey out of the ring, which was a real thing. And here he's referencing it in a fictional movie.
We've talked about that, how the Rocky films we're going to see Rocky Marciano soon here, how the Rocky films talk about these real boxers, and that the Rocky character has somehow, he's in this same world with these real world champions.
Yeah, love it.
that Firpo knocks Dempsey out of the ring the same night. So who gets the publicity? Figure that out.
Dempsey.
That's right, but why?
Because he was champ.
No! Because he had a manager.
What bullshit? What? Like, Rocky was absolutely right.
Yeah,
Of course he's the champ.
No. I mean, what that Mickey should have done is like, yeah, but that is true, Rocky. But he had a manager.
Remember when Hogan slammed Andre the Giant in WrestleMania 3? That same day, I body slammed an overweight guy. But you know why everyone talked about Hogan? Because he was part of the WWF, you idiot. That's why you're just backyard wrestling, you moron.
I want to show you something. I want you to look at my face for a minute. Look at this. I got 21 stitches over this left eye. I got 34 stitches over this eye. You know what? I had my nose busted 17 times.
Basically, Mickey's just saying, I got the crap beaten out of me so many times. Maybe saying that because nobody managed me how to fight properly, maybe. I don't know. Why is he giving the battle scar stories, do you think?
It's his resume, to show that he's shed the blood, sweat, and tears.
But Rocky, ironically, has bragged that he's never had his nose busted. So ironically, Mickey's talking about how his has been broken 17 times as a resume, but Rocky's resume is mine's never been broken. So which is the better fighter?
Neither of them have a manager.
Hey, so this is where Rocky got his "it's okay to get punched in the face and not slip or block the punch" philosophy of fighting from.
I guess so.
Mickey, because Mickey apparently must have fought that way if he had his nose busted 17 times.
Yeah, here's what I want you to do, kid. What I want you to do is stop blocking punches, see? Take the punches with your head, see?
You know how big of a gash you'd have to have for 34 stitches to close it up on your face?
No. I was thinking they couldn't have been all at once.
5 here.
Like yeah, because you're right. 34 stitches would be like from here to here.
And for our audio listeners, that was a very long length.
Yeah.
The last time was with that fight with Sailor Mike. And I got that clip in here, a good fight. Wanna read that? Well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he put this vegetation on my ear.
I love the vegetation on my ear, which a lot of fighters, of course, get the cauliflower ear is what it's referred to. So I love how he calls it the vegetation on my ear. And if you'll notice, I watched this when you watch it in high def, Burgess Meredith, you can actually see the makeup job they did. Of course, made his ears and cauliflower. You can see a little bit of the color differential on high def.
Yeah.
Wouldn't see in the 70s back then on low def film, but nowadays you can see the makeup job on his both his nose and his ears for this.
Isn't cauliflower ear like an injury you get over time? It's not like you get hit once, you get cauliflower ear. Right?
Yeah,
true.
That's right. That's cauliflower ear is more of a wrestler's injury than a.
Well, it's any kind of rubbing. Rugby players get it too. That's why a lot of the rugby players wear that stuff over the ears to protect that from happening. Same way, any kind of rubbing damage. Yeah, a one-time hit wouldn't do it.
Rocky Marciano. You kind of remind me of The Rock. Do you know that?
You really think so?
That's right.
And now, this is I would say my one complaint about the film's called Rocky. I would say this is probably, you can't change it now. It just is what it is. But I admit, back when this first came out, even though I was kind of younger, I was confused. I know I'm not the only a lot of people have been confused about the Rocky name and the Rocky Marciano. Now, Rocky named himself Rocky after Rocky Marciano. So it's basically the equivalent of, let's say I wanted to be a guitar god, and I named myself, Ryan Van Halen. That's what Rocky did here. He gave himself the nickname because of Rocky Marciano. Christian name is not Rocky. His Christian name is not Rocky. Rocky, in the movie, he gave himself that name because of his adoration of Rocky Marciano.
Mickey is right, by the way, that Rocky Balboa and Rocky Marciano do kind of have similar. Like, would Rocky finally... This is like the time Rocky finally replies to Mickey. He's been blowing him off otherwise, but when Mickey says, hey, you remind me of this guy, Rocky's like, you really think so?
So here, right in the scene in the script, it says, Mickey has rung the bell. Nothing could please Rocky more than being compared to his idol. Rocky Marciano have a very similar fighting style, punching power, like iron jaw, hard to put down on the ground. Like, he's very, very similar. So I'm sure that Sylvester Stallone wrote his character
Well, yeah, of course, yeah.
Like all
that was the whole point. That wasn't an accident. You're right. This is the whole meta weird thing. So you got Sly writing the script. Sly puts in the script Rocky Marciano character who's a real life boxer. That Sly himself has always loved boxing. He's loved the sport his whole life. So he puts in one of his favorite boxers into the film, titles his character after that boxer that he likes in real life, that his character likes in real life. It's this whole meta life in our art. Like, that's what I love about the Rocky films, of course, is just how much it just mirrors Sly's inner being or thoughts. But I just say that as a moviegoer, a lot of people who aren't familiar with boxing, who aren't familiar with Rocky Marciano, who aren't familiar with Sly, might just be a little bit like Rocky. I don't get it. That's all. It's just but you and I and everyone who knows the films, like I just said, we know, yeah, Rocky just loves the guy, and he just nicknamed himself Rocky after the character.
Rocky Marciano was in the computer fight against Muhammad Ali. I think they did the computer simulation in like the late 60s.
In real life, and yeah.
That echoes itself later in the Rocky Balboa film, which I think is kind of cool.
Right here, Mickey did get Rocky to perk up a little bit when he compared him to Ciano.
Yeah, it helped a little bit. And he goes, "You move like you got hot like you did." So again, true statements by Mickey are true statements, but he's saying it to butter up Rocky, but they are true statements. But Rocky doesn't know if Mickey truly has felt this way all this time.
It's generally a bad idea to come in someone's house and tell them they didn't deserve their opportunity. You should eat your own pets. And I'm the man, and I was the best when I was younger. And you should do kind of more of, hey, you're a good fighter.
I think you should have led with that. Hey, what an amazing opportunity. Just like Rocky Marciano, I think you got a chance with it. Let me manage you. That might have helped. Sure.
Yeah. Or I'm sorry.
Yeah, apologies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You got heart like he did.
I got heart, but I ain't got no locker, do I, Mick?
Ooh, burn. And Dave in our Discord said that was his favorite line of the movie right there. I got heart, but I ain't got no locker. That's Dave's favorite moment there.
Mickey's a very proud man. It is hard to see your sorry sometimes, especially if you're really proud. Like, if it were me in this situation and I came in, I'd be like, hey, look, I know I've said some stuff to you that was unfair and that was hurtful. You have this good opportunity. Let me make it up for you by helping you out here. Like, I should have helped you out 6 years ago.
On the presentation.
I would say 2022 men.
Yeah.
Or us today, we think more enlightened, of course, than men did 40 odd years ago, and especially men at Mickey's age who would be over 100 today. Like, it's just, they never express their feelings this way.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point.
Anyway, when I begun in this business, kid, look, I want to make a suggestion. Don't drink that piss before a fight.
Now, this is interesting. So telling Rocky's just grabbed the beer out of the fridge and he starts drinking it. And Mickey suggests, hey, don't drink this stuff before a fight. Now, remember, just moments before the same evening, Gazzo took the smoke out of his mouth. So he already has these two peripheral characters taking stuff out of, like, semi-training them, like, stop smoking, stop drinking, take this fight seriously that's coming up. And Mickey's right. And what's also interesting is that Rocky actually does put it down. I think it's subtle. Like, he doesn't hold on to the bottle, doesn't keep drinking it throughout the scene with Mickey. He actually does put it down and stops drinking. So even kind of like, I guess that is good advice from this guy.
No good for you. You don't mind my saying. Anyway, when I started this racket, thugs like us, we was treated like dogs. For $10, you gotta tear somebody's throat out. But I never had no management. One time, this son of a bitch that I fought, he put a nail right there.
Thumb?
The thumb, yeah, the glove. And he punched so many holes in my face, I had the spit shooting out of my cheeks. Can you imagine that?
We've talked about this, with the proposed or the fandom of a Mickey prequel, so to speak, of his. Like, that would be the scene. I think all the Rocky fans would love to see that fight. You see the guy in the corner putting his thumbtack in, and Mickey gets punched, and he's like bleeding out of his cheeks. That'd be a gruesome, but in the Rocky fandom lore, that's I think a scene we don't like to see played out.
I'd love a Mickey prequel. I don't think the market would like it too much, like the film goer market, unfortunately. But if in a perfect world, if they could make it just for us Rocky fans, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
I wonder if there'd be a fan base for that. Well, I'm sure the easygoing and generous Erwin Winkler, who owns the Rocky rights, maybe he'll allow it to happen.
Well, yeah, him and Sly. There should be a parody where Irwin Winkler, like super old, goes to Sly's house, and they have and then they agree to make a Mickey sequel or Mickey prequel at the end.
Actually, that's sort of what happened for Creed. That's funny that you bring that up, Kyle.
Oh, okay.
Because Irwin Winkler had to beg Sly to do Creed 1. Sly was done with Rocky. They are not on good terms. They had, I don't know what they dangled in front of. It was probably money. Sly didn't want to do Creed, not so much because of Coogler and the script and resurrecting the Rocky character. Rocky thought he had already buried Rocky with Rocky Balboa, the film, but it was Irwin Winkler that he's the one that greenlights everything. So, but they can't do the Creed film without Sly. It would have been possible. And so they twisted his arm. So I wonder what they threw out of money-wise. I don't know if it's ever been revealed, but.
Anyway, well, I'll tell you what I looked like when I was in my prime. I want you to look at something. Wait, look at that. Look at that. That's the way I looked.
And he shows a picture there. I believe that is Burgess Meredith wearing boxing gloves. Is it not?
I don't know.
Get a close enough look at it?
Well, look, that's a good free shot there. I mean, I can't zoom it in for you guys, so obviously I don't have that kind of technology. But on your own time, you can probably zoom in on it. But it does enhance, yeah.
Did he fight in real life?
I don't know. I think a better podcaster would research this stuff before the episode started. But
what weight class would he have been in? He's a tiny man. Like, Rocky's not that tall, and he's like a head taller than Burgess Meredith.
But I love how he pulls out that picture. I love Rocky's comment. It's just, again, amazing writing by Sly, because a lesser writer might not have written this. I think this is amazing writing by Sly, because Mickey pulls out the picture. The first thing Rocky says is, "You don't take very good care of that picture." It's just like, what a great thing to say. Like, of all the things to say, he's saying, which isn't fair. This is a newspaper clipping or whatever. It's like 30 to 50 years old. Like, come on, that's not bad condition, Sly.
Yeah, it's at least 50 years old. I think it's funny, too, because they're kind of cut from the same cloth in the sense that they both enjoy showing stuff. Like, when Rocky was on his date with Adrian, he talked about how the Beanie Crateshaw fight broke both his hands and his face, and then out of nowhere, he pulls that out of his wallet. Be like, "Hey, look, this is the picture of Beanie right here," right? Like, kind of like having all these little tokens of their previous fights and who they were and stuff. Like, they're very similar in that sense.
Before these guys got at me.
It's nice. You take very good care of the picture, though.
But I never had no management. That's the trouble. But now I got all this knowledge. I got it up here, and I want to give it to you. I want to give you this knowledge. I want to take care of you.
There it is. Finally, he just comes out with it. And this is where the real Mickey does come out. This is where the passion speech comes out, where he say, "Okay, look, I've got all this knowledge. I want to give it to you. My life is coming to an end. Yours is sort of just beginning in this moment. This is a huge moment. You basically have fast forward to the biggest moment of your life. I've got knowledge. I legit have stuff in my head that I think with you, we could have some sort of chance. You could last a little bit longer than you would have without me."
And I believe, too, that Rocky, in his heart, knows that he can't do this without Mickey's help. But he's not going to make it easy on Mickey.
I want to make sure that all the shit that happened to me doesn't happen to you. You know what I mean?
If the fight's set.
Listen to me. I want to be your manager. You follow that, do you?
The fight's set. I don't need no manager.
But you can't buy what I'm going to give you. I mean, I've got pain and I've got experience.
Well, I got pain. I got experience, too.
Now, listen, kid.
Hey, look, Mick.
What?
Look, I need your help about 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago?
Right.
You never helped me. You didn't care.
Well, if you wanted help.
So he's been going to Mick's gym for 10 years. But it's funny because he said 10 years ago, I wanted help. He wouldn't give it to me. And then he says for the past 6 years, he's been sticking it to me. Like, so he's been going to Mick's gym for 10 years. And then there was a 4-year period where things were okay, I guess. And then, so he was 20 years old when he went to Mick's gym. But then from the age of 24 to 30 in the film, Mickey's been a dick.
Because Mickey said he was a dick to him because he saw that he was a good fighter but was wasting his talent. So maybe Mick, for those first 4 years, was either A, ignoring him, or B, kind of just observing him from a distance. And then at some point, he figured Rocky in the effort, or he's wasting his time doing other stuff, and he kind of wrote him off. And then once he wrote him off, it started bothering him. So then he started sticking it to him.
I say, if you wanted help, why didn't you ask? Why didn't you just ask me, kid?
Look, I asked, but you never heard nothing.
Well, I'm 76 years old.
I love that. He starts to give a sob story about his age. Like, I'm dying out here. And
he had nothing to say back to Rocky. It's at this moment where he sees it as it's over. It's over. I made my plea, and Rocky's not buying it, so he kind of goes into a little woe is me with I'm 76 years old. I don't want to say gaslights Rocky, but he kind of flips it back on Rocky when Rocky's like, I needed your help 10 years ago, and you didn't want to hear me. And then Mickey turns around and says, well, why didn't you ask me? Oh, kind of like victim blaming. Like, if you wanted help, just, I was here, but you as a father figure are, if you was that much of a father figure, should recognize a plea for help in your students,
If he saw Rocky's talent like he said he did, you would think he'd reach out and be like, hey, look, you're a talented fighter. Could I manage you? Do you think someone who wants to be a manager and who wants to be successful has an eye out for talent?
You know what we don't hear after the toilet flush? Sink running.
But he flushed the toilet on Mickey on purpose, I think.
Oh, you don't think he did any business in there? No?
I think it was designed to be like, this is a bunch of crap you're throwing at me and I'm flushing down the toilet. I think it was a purposeful metaphor on Rocky's part, yeah. But you're right, there's no water running afterwards. That was a very quick pee had he gone pee, but I think it was literally like, dude, I don't want to hear it, and he flushes. And Mickey recognizes it, that's why he walks away like, oh, it's a load of crap I'm throwing at him, and then he's just dumping it down.
And,
now he's curses there. You see that?
Yeah.
He drops the F-bomb there, but they don't caption it on the Blu-ray, and they don't. But it's just barely there. Burgess Meredith go like, oh, and but it's there, yeah. But it's just not audible enough that they didn't warrant the rating to showcase that. But he just subtly drops like, oh, F this. It's probably just Burgess Meredith being Burgess Meredith. So he goes to touch his head like, oh, yeah, I forgot my hat. I left my hat here. So he opens and closes the door to get his hat. And, of course, Rocky thinks that Mickey has left the apartment, but he hasn't. So I had to grab his hat, puts it on. Rocky comes out the crapper. Oh, you're still here, dude. Sorry. Shuts the door.
Now he really knows it's over.
Yeah.
You see how timid Rocky is? Like you were saying, he can't ask Mickey to leave. Like, imagine if you had a confrontation. Basically hid in the bathroom until they left your house.
When he heard the bathroom door open and he spun around, there was a little glimmer of hope in his eye. Rocky,
Mickey's eyes, yeah,
and then he closed the door on him, and you saw it just drain from his face.
Yeah, the conversation's over. So Mickey leaves, closed the door defiantly. Rocky now comes out knowing that he's gone. Now that Mickey's gone, he vents, goes, "Took you long enough to get here. We'll just play the speech out here." He basically yells everything that's been in his mind.
10 years you come to my house. Huh? What's the matter? You don't like my house? My house stink? That's right, it stinks! I ain't asked no favors from you! Don't fall around me! Talk about your pride. What about my pride, Nick? At least you have pride! I ain't had no pride, I ain't had nothing. Legs are going, everything is going, no one's getting them nothing. Guy comes up, offers me a fight. Big deal. Want to fight the fight? Yeah, I'll fight the big fight. I wouldn't want to fight that big fight. What's going to happen to me? I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that. And you want me ringside and see it? Do you? You want to help me out? Help? Do you want to see me get my face kicked in? Legs ain't working. Nothing's working. They go on, fight the champ. Yeah, I'll fight him. My face kicked in. You come around here, you want to move in here with me? Come on in, it's a nice house. Real nice, come on in and move. It stinks. This whole place stinks. You want to help me out? Well, help me out. Come on, help me out, I'm standing here.
This scene.
So, yeah, great. Well, yeah, it's one I don't want to pause. It's an amazing acting by Sly, of course. A tirade. Both he's feeling everything. He's mad at Mick. He's mad it's taking so long. He's also mad that he has the chance to fight the champ because he's mad that he's going to be embarrassed. His legs ain't working. He knows he's not in shape. He literally has taken the money to help his life out. He recognizes that in himself. He recognizes that he does need help. He recognizes that he can't do it without Mickey. So he's mad at himself that he's even admitting all this. All these things are flooding through.
This needed to happen in order for Rocky and Mickey to move on. The thing is, though, Rocky doesn't have the heart to do it to Mickey's face. Just like Mickey couldn't bring himself to apologize, Rocky, as mad as he is at Mickey, he has enough respect for the man to not, just arm a new one face to face. It needed to get out in the open. Mickey needed to hear it. He knows Mickey's, still within earshot. That moment they can move on and work together.
Rocky genuinely, and I think this is ironic, doesn't like hurting people. Which is funny, given that you took up boxing as a profession and also as a career breaking thumbs, which she's hesitant to do, as we saw with Bob. And I don't think he wants to get in Mickey's face and cause that uncomfortable tension with him and a disrespect like that right to his face. I think scenes like this is one of the reasons this movie got Best Picture. I think it was so well done. I think it describes so well how people like these two would actually. I think this confrontation would have gone down like this in real life had you had two people like this get together and had to work it out like that.
Let's say that Mickey did come with a different approach and said, "Listen, I know we've had some bad blood, Rocky, and I apologize for things that I've said in the past, but I believe you need my help to make the most out of this opportunity. Let's work together." I don't know if Rocky would have had the opportunity to undress him the way he does here. Rocky's whole demeanor would have changed if Mickey came at him that way.
I agree, and I think Rocky had to vent that. Right. He probably felt great after he said all that shit. Finally got the years and years of resentment and anger and tension out. Finally venting that to Mickey, because I think he knows Mickey hurt him. You had to have that boil over. You had to have it go nuclear in order to push the reset button on this relationship.
Yeah, 100% agree. We're going to see the difference in his demeanor now when he comes out of the apartment.
Thanks. Jeez.
Man, you can really edit it out if you want.
Oh, trust me, Doug's going to be edited out of this whole episode. I think.
No, Ryan, for an hour and 20 minutes, you've been sticking it to me. I want to know why.
You don't want to know.
I want to know.
You want to know?
I want to know how.
Because Doug, you had the chance to be my co-host, but no, instead you did a crappy Rocky Minute podcast and never gets released.
Ouch.
Oh, I love you, Doug. I just want to say, too, of course, most people know this, but there might be the odd person who listens to the show who doesn't know. But when Rocky says it stinks, this place stinks, that was real life. Sly said that the bathroom itself, truth, like that was a real apartment. They actually filmed that sequence in a real apartment. The bathroom legitimately stunk. So the script wasn't written to say that. Sly in that moment was saying the place stinks.
The whole rant wasn't in the script. After Mickey leaves the apartment, Rocky sits on his bed, thinks about it for a couple of minutes, and then goes chasing after Mickey.
Awesome.
That rant wasn't in there at all.
I love it. I love that kind of stuff. Some of the best stuff that happens in any movie, the ad-lib stuff, the human emotion stuff that comes out, the real human stuff, yeah. Improv, but dramatic improv, all the same. Cool. So, of course, Rocky, like Doug said, Rocky will come out and give, and I love this tender moment. It's actually, and it's from this moment on that the father-son relationship is solidified and continues, but it's really interesting how much Rocky puts his arm around him, his hand. It's just a very tender moment. And, of course, the Bill Conti music of that. But watch, Mickey's a little bit afraid when Rocky runs up to him. He halts a little bit. Whoa. He's a little bit, he backs up. See, yeah. He backs up a little bit. I mean, Mickey backs away a little bit afraid, of course, because you got this lumbering guy coming at you. But then it's like, Mickey's like, I'm sorry, Rocky's probably like, whoa, Mick, wait. And he puts his arm around Mick and leans in close to talk to him. So, Doug, what are your thoughts? What do you think Rocky's saying here? What would be because it's not that long of dialogue.
No, I feel like he's saying, sorry, I said those things. I just needed to get that stuff off my chest. Of course, I want you to work with me.
I think he would have said even less. I think he would have been just like, it's okay, Mick. It's okay. Let's do it. Let's train.
You know, it's funny. If this scene was written today, you would have like a big dramatic monologue. I love what they do with almost nothing in the scene, with an arm around his shoulder and a handshake, and that's it. Also, let's point out that the lack of money that they had for this. They had no money for lighting and everything. The street, they do that thing where they wet the street so the light shines off it. But he encounters Mickey right underneath that one street light. It's all the way down the block. So, I mean, they're in like the way back of the frame. And you see everything you need to see. I think that's great cinematography.
It's perfect. It's iconic. And of course, Bill Conti's music there makes it even better. Mm-hmm. I think I do say that in retrospect because I've heard this music so much growing up and I love the film so much, but I don't know. I think it's funny when I was recording with Seiko, we did Karate Kid, who Bill Conti did the score for that too. It isn't as memorable in Karate Kid. Like there's no real musical score from that anyone could hum, for example, but the Rocky one, everyone knows. Any real fan knows that music. They could hum that if they can carry a tune at all, right? I think without the music, this scene wouldn't have been as good either. Like it's kind of like the stuff Doug was saying and the music and everything just kind of came together right to make this scene really good.
What's the difference between a piano and a fish? You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. Little Rocky V humor.
Oh man!
Shakes hands.
Comes back for a handshake.
Yeah. But he brings his hand out and goes, come here. He actually motions Mickey to, come here, shake hands. So even Mickey might at this point, like, must have been really stung by that moment because he's still a little bit hesitant, but it's really now Rocky leaning to, like, let's do this. Let's make this work. Bridge that gap. And he seems even excited by the agreement because when he jogs back, he gives another, like, a cursory wave back.
Like Kyle said before, like, all that venting must have been like a huge weight lifted off his shoulders. Now he feels much lighter.
Sure. The wave, and then Rocky does a bit of a run. I think he waves back again. Or he looks back. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. I love the train, too. You have the train. It's just perfect shot. That, honestly, I think it's stuff like this is what made this film get Best Picture.
Yeah, that train was all timed, of course. We know that, but they had people, like, forget how they did it, but they were able to time it just like that. And it's amazing, amazing stuff.
Guy was down the street saying, okay, the train's coming.
That's awesome.
By the way, I know we can't have this in the episode, but this radio next to his clock, pretty sure he made that in 9th grade shop class or something.
The guts of a radio.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready for the Rocky trivia answers?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. 31. How much money do spectators at the skating rink have to pay? I said $5. Doug?
Thought it was 6.
It's 2, gentlemen.
Damn it.
Okay, Kyle, you're going to have to keep score here. I think I did really poorly here.
Sorry, Katie. 0 for 1.
Me too. I actually went with 2. Let me see what the answer is, though. Let's wait 1 sec. Yeah, you're right, Kyle. $2. Okay. What age did Rocky start fighting? And I said 15.
That's what I said.
That was my guess as well.
Okay.
I don't know. Was
15.
15. Was it stated that?
Yeah. Yes, he told Adrian during their skating their skating date that he started boxing at that age.
Oh, this is a real tough one next.
What is the date of the beginning of the movie? I said November 23rd, 75.
25th.
I said September 25th.
Okay. What did you say, Doug?
November 25th.
All right, I said November 2-3.
I think it is November.
It is November 2-5. Oh, no.
That's the wrong month.
It was the day before Thanksgiving.
For some reason, I thought that more time had elapsed between that scene at Thanksgiving, but you're right. I was on.
This is great. Great for Katie. Great for Katie. This is Katie needs the points. So true or false, the ice rink is also a skating school. I said yes because they have the lessons. They had advertisements for lessons. Kyle, would you say yes or no?
I said true.
Okay.
Also true.
Yep. And the last one is, when did Rocky come up with the name, the Italian Stallion? I'm going to say it was 8 years ago. He says to the press conference guy 8 years ago. Do you remember?
That's what I said too. I said 8.
I said 8 years ago when he was making dinner.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. 8 years ago when he was eating dinner.
Oh. No. I thought he said he was making dinner. I'm pretty sure.
Well, he probably ate it too, guys. Give Rocco. Come on. This is Rocco.
Go back to the press conference.
Because I always think if he can't fight, I bet he can cook line.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's what Rocker wrote. I'm telling what Rocker. But yeah, it was 8 years ago was the answer. So we all got that one. So Doug, again, say to the listeners who might not know who you are, where they can find you.
You can find me right here on the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network. My podcast is called Rocky Minute, where we go through the Rocky films 1 minute at a time.
Yeah, great stuff. Great show, of course. And of course, Doug, myself, and Craig from Slycast, we cover Sly films that aren't Rocky or Rambo on the Sylvester Stallone podcast, also on this feed. Doug's also guest hosted on my Rambo podcast. It's The Long Road. Check out that show. If you're a Sly fan, you're listening to this, you don't realize it. I do a Rambo podcast called It's a Long Road, and it's a lot of fun. And Doug, you'll come on again, I hope, for that.
Yes.
For that.
Waiting for the invitation.
I hope too, by the way.
You are.
Yes. I'd love to be on that. I was on there once, and then it never got a call back. I've been waiting.
You will. Okay, well, relax.
I also don't want Seiko to get mad at me. I also do the Arnold podcast with him once a month.
Kyle, you're going to come back on. I've already decided that you and Katie will both be on at the same time because I have too many guest co-hosts, which is a good thing. I didn't think I was going to have that many. I got people that want to come back, and I still have people that I haven't asked yet. So I'm kind of running out of. I don't have enough episodes per host. So I'm going to double you and Katie up for the next guest host. That show's been great. Okay, well, we want to thank people who hung out during our Discord chat. Look, check out the show notes. Again, what is Discord? People are asking. Discord is you can watch us live. It's all unedited. You can watch us take pee breaks. It's a lot of fun because what you hear on iTunes isn't the whole show. Okay, so there's even jokes that don't work that you get to hear live, all that good stuff. That's it. The episode's over.
And hear no bell.